Hello, Tammy here with the Your Voice podcast. Today I want to talk about something that's kind of tricky for a lot of people. I'm not here to point any fingers. I could surely be one to blame in regards to this as well. But, and that's our worth. And before you click off, I know, everybody was talking about that self-love thing and all that. And it may seem overwhelming. It may seem too much. But the reality of it is that there are things occurring around us and maybe even to us that we may not even be aware of. I'll give a perfect example. Let's say you go into work and there's two people. They do the same position. One gets treated nicer than the other. One that works harder gets treated less than. But when we did that study, we found out that it wasn't that at all. It was the vibration that the both were carrying. And in carrying that vibration in essence, within us, in a sense, if you could allow me to say, it determines how we allow people to treat us, and it determines on how we treat ourselves. So, with that said, I wanted to talk about that, the treatment that may have occurred for you, for me, and maybe if we could trace it back, we could see where it came from. I know for myself, I grew up in a home. My father was there until he was not, because of things that transpired between him and my mom, abuse. So once my mom decided no more, she became a single mom. She never dated again. She never fell in love again. She never even entertained another man. Now, then I look at myself and I think the way that I had allowed the men that came into my life to treat me, each one, though I thought was better than the other, still was based on the relationship she had with my dad. So it makes me think, is it our environment that determines our worth? Is it our self-doubt? Is it the things that transpire that make us feel like we can't trust ourselves or trust the world? Is it the things that led you to thinking negativity about yourself? Now, these are all reference that I'm speaking to in regards to myself, but they could also pertain to you. Now, I'm not here to, get a sad stop, woo 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 from anyone. I'm just speaking in regards to what it is that we're talking about today, the word. So my mom's worth, at least what I perceived as her daughter, helped to shape my worth, because that's what I saw around me pretty much 24 hours a day. And then with the chatter that was going on around me, things happening with the friends, all that kind of stuff, I had no choice in a way to not react the way that I did, because I was definitely, in regards to an example of being a product of your environment, but not a product of your environment. I always had the strength and the will to change it, but I didn't know it. And you have the strength and the will to change it as well, if this is something that's resonating with your heart. Now, I was recently at and I'm going to this story to land on where I'm kind of going. I was at a park with a family member, my great niece and my niece and stuff, and my great niece is 3, and we were running around, and I asked her when she blew out the little thing that looks like a little fairy. I asked her what she wished for, and she said, "I wish for diamonds." And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "I wish for diamonds." And she was all excited, popping, hip hopping all around. And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "That's definitely something that your grandma has told you." And my sister and my niece was like, "Yep." And they were like, "Did Nona tell you that?" And she was like, "Yes." So I got to thinking about that, and then I started thinking about how my niece's husband treats her. He treats her like she's a queen. He treats her like she's like royalty. And then I got to thinking about, okay, he treats her that way. My great niece is being instilled in her, being 3 years old, as far as she could talk, that she's worth diamonds, because her grandma subliminally put that in her head. And then not only did she put that in her head, she has the people that surround her that treat her like a little princess. So that's determining what she will and will not take, because she's going to step forward with that in her mind, that she's worth diamonds. Ooh, I think that's something. That's something for somebody else that needed to relieve that off their heart too. It is. It really is. And if you're feeling this, give me some blue hearts in the comment section. But bottom line is that in some way, shape, or form, the people we keep, the people that we learn from, the area that we're surrounded by, determines how we view our self-worth. And then once you come into awareness of that, you could trickle back, and you do experience that. Every one of us have experienced that. I had to go back. I was told to go back. Every one of us experienced that. Let's say we go through a breakup. The first thing we do is think, what did I do? Right? We get into that little victim mode for a minute or two, or however long we need to be there. And that's another thing that is topped onto layers. You have a friend that you think is your best friend, and you would do anything for your friend, and your friend talks badly behind your back, and you find out. And I'm sure all of you guys have been that, but that's another blow to your worth, right? So when we come into this world, we don't know there's any difference, right? We don't know that we shouldn't be treated some way. We don't know that we shouldn't do that or shouldn't do this. We know that we're this invincible, strong-willed, peace-loving person, right? Because there is nothing that's tainted our view. If you go back and you think about when you were a child, what did you do? You hip hop, you skip jump, you played, you sang, you danced, you enjoyed your family. You know, as you got older, you start seeing what was going on around you. Because in the beginning, for the most part, most of the environments, in some cases not, you know, and I do understand. But we grow up in an environment where there's so much love. Oh, the baby's here, the baby's here, the baby's here. And then you get here and you're being held from one arm to the next. You're coddled, you're loved, you're caressed. You have all this joy and love coming on to you. And there's no way that if things around you did not, oh God,